Hi, I'm Mrs. C and welcome to Math Defined. Today's video is about how to multiply with negative fractions. But don't forget, if you like this video, please click the like button below. And if you haven't done so already, please become a subscriber today. Help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers by July the 4th, 2022. So thank you again if you have subscribed and are helping me to achieve that goal. So let's get started. All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to multiply with positive and negative fractions. So I'm going to start off with a pair of positive fractions. So I think you already know from your experience with multiplying fractions by now that when you multiply a positive fraction by another positive fraction, your answer or your product will also be positive. So all I have to do here is just follow the normal multiplication process by multiplying the numerator straight across. So I will get 3 times 2 is 6. And then I'm going to multiply the denominator straight across. 7 times 5 is 35. And then it's always a really good idea to make sure that your answer is in simplest form by checking to see if your numerator and your denominator share any common factors other than 1. And if they don't, then you know that your answer is in simplest form. And 6 over 35 is in simplest form. So again, if we're going to multiply a positive fraction to another positive fraction, then our answer or our product will be positive. And the same is true as if I take a negative fraction and multiply it to another negative fraction, then my answer or my product will be positive. So just kind of think of it as same signs. When you're multiplying by numbers with the same signs, either positive, 2 positives, or 2 negatives, then your answer or your result will always be a positive number. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I have negative 6 sevenths being multiplied to negative 3 elevenths. So since both of my fractions are negative, I know that my answer will be positive, so I can kind of temporarily just disregard those negative signs. So I'm going to multiply my numerators. 6 times 3 is 18. Multiply my denominators. 7 times 11 is 77. And again, this is kind of a tricky one, but you want to make sure, do they share any common factors other than 1? And 18 over 77 do not, so I know my answer is in simplest form. So before I move on to showing you some examples of multiplying a negative fraction to a positive fraction, I want to take a look at this negative 3 elevenths. And what I want to look at specifically is the placement of the negative sign. So in this one here, the negative sign is placed in the numerator. And you might be asking yourself, does this mean that the numerator is negative and the denominator is positive? And the answer to that is no. It means that that entire value of 3 elevenths is a negative value. It's a negative 3 elevenths. And if I were going to place it on a number line, it would look like this. Because negatives are less than 0, so it'll be to the left of 0. And negative 3 elevenths is in between 0 and negative 1. So this is how you would plot that value. Okay, so there are 2 other places that you can place the negative sign, and it still means that that entire value is negative. So let me show you another one. Now I have it where I have the negative sign just to the left of the fraction. And that's one that you're probably more used to seeing, that's more common or more typical. So we know when we see that, that's a negative value of negative 3 elevenths. And then there's one more place that you can put that negative sign, and it would be in the denominator. So just like you can place the negative sign only in the numerator, you can also do that by placing it only in the denominator. And so what that means is that means that entire value of 3 elevenths is a negative 3 elevenths. Now there's one thing you never want to do. You never want to leave a negative sign in both your numerator and your denominator, because when you do, now all of a sudden I have the numerator and the denominator having the same signs. And remember, the fraction bar means to divide. So this means negative 3 divided by negative 11. And when you're dividing with same signs, a negative by negative, your answer is positive. So this really isn't a negative 3 elevenths. It's really a positive 3 elevenths. So you never want to leave those negative signs If you have one in both the numerator and the denominator, you want to reduce that to the positive value that it is. Okay, so now let's take a look at some fractions that when we're multiplying them, they have different signs. So same signs will be positive, different signs will be negative. So let's start by multiplying a positive fraction to a negative fraction. So we have positive 4/5 being multiplied to negative 2/3. So I know that my answer is going to be negative. So let's just go ahead and multiply straight across the numerators and the denominators. So 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8. And 5 times 3 gives me positive 15. Now we know that it's not really positive 15. We know that that value is negative 8/15. And then we want to double check. Do they share any common factors other than 1? And they don't. So I know that my product is negative 8/15. Okay, now let's take a look at a negative fraction being multiplied to a positive fraction. So again, a negative being multiplied to a positive is going to result with a negative answer. So I have negative 6/15 being multiplied to 2.5. So remember, you cannot multiply a fraction to a mixed number. We need to change the mixed number into an improper fraction before we can multiply. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to bring down my negative 6/15, bring down my multiplication. Now to turn 2.5 into an improper fraction, I'm going to multiply the denominator of 2 to the whole number of 2, and then I'm going to add the numerator, keeping the denominator the same. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, and so I will get an improper fraction of 5/2. So now I'm ready to start the multiplication process. So remember, when I'm multiplying this negative fraction to this positive fraction, my answer will be a negative value. Now, before I multiply my numerators and my denominators straight across, I'm going to go ahead and look for some cross-canceling opportunities. And I do see one here with 6 and 2. They both share a common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide each of them by that shared factor of 2. So 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. And 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. I also see a cross-canceling opportunity with 5 and 15, and they share a common factor of 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now I'm ready to multiply my numerators straight across, so 3 times 1 is going to give me 3, but don't forget to bring over that negative sign. Then I'm going to multiply my denominators. 3 times 1 is also 3. And remember, when you have a fraction where the numerator and the denominator both have the same value, that fraction will always reduce to a 1. But it's not going to be a positive 1, it's going to be a negative 1 since we multiplied a negative fraction to a positive fraction. All right, so that about wraps it up. I hope you found this video to be helpful, and if you did and you liked it, please click the like button below. If you helped me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers by July the 4th, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't done so, please consider helping me reach my goal. I would really appreciate it. And I would love to hear your comments about the video or any other video topics that you would like me to make. So until I see you next time, thank you so much for watching.